every Saturday and every Monday. All you have to do is go to their website, go to the training section, select LTC, and just sign up right there online with them. They run one every Saturday over here. Pretty good price. I think it's $95. The 4-hour in classroom and the qualification. You will have to bring your own 50 rounds of ammo. They don't include that in the price. So, highly recommend it if you're thinking about getting a firearm or having a firearm for self-defense. Taking that LTC class is hugely important. It helps you understand the laws in the state, you know, where you can and can't carry, when you should and shouldn't shoot, what the legal use of force requirements are, all that good stuff. We do run that course here as well. Keep an eye out. I run that course here usually once a month, where we get more into actual laws in the state, so that you better understand when you can and can't use force and the difference between force and deadly force. But today we're going to be focused on aftermath of the self-defense event, guys. What does the aftermath of the self-defense event mean to you? Pick on you.
If you
To use the gun, use your fist, use your car, you defend yourself somehow, and now what's going to happen? Yeah. You know? That's why you're here, right?
It's the aftershock of whatever happened, what you did.
Right.
Now you're going to see, did I hurt him? Did I kill him? Am I going to get in trouble?
Absolutely.
All these questions you're going to get.
And this is the part that a lot of people don't think about. They think about, hey, how am I going to defend myself? Hopefully, you're thinking about that, right? How am I going to defend myself if it comes down to it? And a lot of people think about, you know, what that's going to look like and feel like. Nobody hardly ever thinks about what's going to come next. The national average for a self-defense event in this country lasts around 3 to 5 seconds, guys. They happen quickly, they happen violently, okay? That 3 to 5 seconds, you can count on the next 3 to 5 months minimum of your life being taken up with the aftermath. Because we don't live in a justice system in this country, guys. We live in a legal system. And once you defend yourself, and you injure somebody, or maybe possibly take somebody's life, there's going to be a full-blown investigation about that. Okay? So we need to be prepared for that. That's what we're going to be focused on tonight. So we got to get a better understanding of what to expect, how we can plan for that. And so what we're going to cover tonight is going to be number one, how can we mitigate some of that risk? Response to stress. This is a hugely important section that we'll go over. Effects of stress, the immediate aftermath, and 6 things to know when the police arrive on the scene. Okay. So mitigating risk. So the first thing I always talk to people about is you got to understand that even if this wasn't an armed situation, maybe you used your fist, your feet, non-lethal, your car, your dog, your mother-in-law, right? Somebody to defend yourself, right? When the police show up, if it wasn't an armed engagement before, it is now. When the police show up, they're going to have guns, okay? So we need to be aware of that. We need to act appropriately. Next thing to understand is just about every law enforcement officer, first responder of any kind, are always going to have cameras on. It's become mandatory these days. So in this moment, you got to understand anything you say and or do is going to be on film that can be used for you or against you in the situation. So this is hugely important that we act appropriately. When the police show up, we'll get into this a little bit deeper. If there's a gun involved, once you see those red and blues, we need to be thinking about getting our hands free, right? Whether that's reholstering the firearm, putting it on the ground, whatever makes sense for you, okay? There's different methodologies around that, which we can talk about. But we need to get our hands free. We're going to follow commands, but we're going to limit what we say, okay? And we're going to talk about why. So it's going to be important. It's going to be important that you make a plan for how you're going to engage with law enforcement. Okay? I always look at it this way. My body's not going to go where my mind hadn't been, right? From a training perspective. If I need to pull my firearm out and use it in a self-defense event, I need to practice that skill over and over and over again. Okay? Anybody like anybody a musician in here? Anybody like guitar, saxophone, piano? This is the one, right? So if I go buy a guitar tomorrow and I stick it over in the corner of my bedroom and I buy some sheet music, am I now a musician? No. Heck no, right? We've got to actually practice that skill to become that, right? Same thing when it comes to this aftermath, guys. We need to practice We need to mentally perform the action of, hey, I've been in a situation. The police are here. What am I going to do? You need to actually mentally go through that process, because I can trust me, when we get into this next section over here, we're going to talk about it. There's going to be a lot of things going on physiologically with you, but also mentally with your mind. Okay, so we need to be practicing and preparing how we're going to handle that encounter, so physically and emotionally. So this is a huge piece right here. I spent quite a bit of time on it. It's important for you guys to understand physiological responses. Okay, if you use a firearm to defend yourself, all of a sudden you're put under attack. Okay, what's going to happen to you? Well, what's that? Adrenaline, right? Anybody ever been really scared? Right? I'm sure I got some military folks in there, stuff like that, right? Get you jumping out of planes and different things like that, right? All of a sudden that adrenaline starts rushing through your body. Man, that can tense you up a little bit. It can cause you to get lose some fine motor skills. Adrenaline is going to make you stronger, okay? It's a chemical, but it also causes all the blood in your body to remove itself from the extremities of your body, push it into the core muscle groups. It's going to push it into your brain, your core of your body, your big muscles, because you want to be stronger, you want to be faster, you want to have more stamina, because your body's, everything your body's thinking right now is survival, okay? When we do that, we lose these fine motor skills. So our ability to operate tools becomes diminished. So if you're going to use pepper spray to defend yourself, now you've got to be able to reach in that bag. Hopefully it's somewhere you can get to it, not at the bottom of the bag, right? And then you got to take the safety off, and then you got to actually be able to press the button, okay? Firearms, you got to be able to remove it, take off the safety if you have a safety, do all those types of things. So these are the physical things that are going to happen. So when adrenaline kicks in, your heart rate's going to go from about 80 beats per minute to about 135 beats per minute, okay? It's going to be super stressful, okay? Your body's just really going to lock up. You're also going to get what we call endorphins, okay? Anybody know what endorphins do for us? Absolutely, right? Perfect, yeah. So it's going to actually take those nerve endings and deaden those nerve endings. It's going to take away the pain. This is an important thing to know in a self-defense situation, okay? It's a great thing, because if I'm injured, do I need to worry about pain right now? No, I'm still in survival mode. I'm still trying to get through this event, okay? So I don't have, what's the old saying, I don't have time, you know, I don't have time for pain, right? So this kind of deadens those pain receptors, so we continue to fight. After the fight is over, though, and now we're in a safe situation, we put ourselves in a safe situation, what do we need to be thinking about? What's that?
Self-care, the injury self-care.
Yeah, injury self-care. We're gonna start wanting to check ourselves, okay? Especially if the other person had a knife, a gun, something like that, shots were fired, you're automatically, as soon as you're in that safe location, we're gonna wanna start checking ourselves. You won't know if you were hit, cut, injured, okay? I know, I was never, just to tell you, I was never in the military, I was never in law enforcement, but I hang out with a bunch of people in the military. And I work with a group called Sheepdog Response, a really good group. Most of them are special operations guys. And he tells a story about how they were in a firefight. They stood up, started to walk off. His partner said, "Hey, you're hit." He goes, "No, I'm not." He looked down, his knee was blown off. That's how strong that endorphin effect is. You might not know that you're injured, you might have broken bones, something like that, so you're going to want to do that self-check, self-care, okay? You're also going to experience something called tunnel vision. Right now, we all have about 180 degrees of vision, right? You can kind of see my fingers out here. All of a sudden, when we're in a stressful situation, that vision is going to come in. Why is my body doing that?
Focusing on the target.
On the threat, right? Yeah, absolutely, right? So again, everything's about survival right now. And unfortunately, in today's world, it'd be better if my vision stayed open so I could see what was going on. But this is thousands of years of us surviving. Everything wanted to go down to, hey, there's that snake, there's that attacker, whatever it might be. So our vision goes directly towards whatever that is. So we're going to lose all this external vision. That can be a problem if you got multiple attackers, okay?
Excuse me.
Additionally to that, when we start talking about the aftermath, yes, ma'am.
Is the flight response the same no matter what type of situation you're in?
It's typical for the individual person, okay? Your individual biology and the way that your mind works, and the way that you've trained yourself to maybe possibly overcome that. We typically talk about fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? Most people would hear fight or flight, but there is a third one, that's the freeze. I'm going to show you guys a video here a little bit, just kind of give you an example of this. But it can be trained out, right? The more training you do mentally about, hey, when this happens, I will do this. That's the mode you want to be in mentally, okay? I always tell people, if you're in a violent encounter like that, fight. That's got to be your mode. It's got to be fight. Okay? If the escape option's already gone, okay, it's fight. I've got two daughters, like one is 20, one is 16. And I tell them all the time, I don't care if somebody's got a gun, a knife, whatever, if they're trying to get you in a car, do not get in that car, fight your ass off. Scream, holler, scratch, bite, throw yourself on the ground, pebble, I don't care what you got to do to fight. Once they got you in that car, game's over. Okay? So we've kind of got to train our way into that. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. So tunnel vision is going to be important. The reason we talk about these things in here is because when our body goes into these natural fighting instincts or panic instincts, what happens is also our mind is affected. Not just physiologically, but our mind. Anybody ever heard of a lizard brain? So this is like that fundamental, all the processing ability of our brain gets nullified. Now we're just doing what? We're just reacting. Okay, trying to survive. Right here, I know you said you're in the military, right? So when you go in the military, what's the first thing they started having you do? Get yelled at, right? Then they were training you, right? Okay, so they put you in training situations, and then trained that day, and then you came back the next day, you trained some more, trained some more, trained some more. Okay, so they're trying to build up that automated response. Okay, a lot of people call it muscle memory. We call it connecting a neural connection, right? So all of a sudden, I'm sitting in that situation. Instead of me, my brain just freezing and me not knowing what to do, we built it in through that training mechanism. So now I can actually react. Okay, I can draw that firearm, I can run, I can do whatever it is I need to do. Okay, these things are going to be inhibitors to that. Our natural neurological responses are going to tell us to do that. Okay. So, additional to those, you're going to have something called auditory exclusion. Okay? Well, you're not going to be able to do this. But I want you guys to take your hands and just put them over your ears like this, and press in real tight. How much audio do you have? Pretty low, right? You get to lose about 80% of your hearing in one of these violent encounters. Your body doesn't care. Just think about this. Anybody ever been driving somewhere they've never been before? The radio's on, and then you get close to where you're going, and you're like, turn the radio down, because you're trying to get rid of all that additional noise so you can concentrate on where you're going to someplace you've never been before. Anybody ever done that? Yeah. Same thing here. Your body's like saying, hey, all that auditory noise I got to get rid of because I need to focus solely on this threat. Okay? So expect to have auditory exclusion. Memory loss. Guys, this is real. Again, our brain only wants to survive. Typically, we're taking in information that's getting put into what we call short-term memory. Some of that short-term memory is then getting loaded into our long-term memory. Okay? In a violent encounter like this, our brain's making decisions about what's important for us. And a lot of times what it's going to do is say, that's not important. Doesn't go in the short-term memory. That's not important. Let's keep that. Okay? But it's being selective about what it's keeping in short-term memory, which means we're going to have what we call memory loss. I think that's important in the aftermath. To know that, hey, I may not have all the memories of everything that happened here. I can have some blank spots, okay? So you got to understand, you will have memory loss under these situations and conditions, okay? This is the big one, false memories. This tells you how crazy your brain is. It literally starts short-circuiting, going off the rails a little bit. It could be something that happened to you 10 years ago. It could be something from a movie you saw. And all of a sudden, your brain just says, yeah, let's take that out of long-term memory and throw that in there. I don't know. I don't know why your brain does it, but your brain does it, okay? But it's important to understand these things, because we're gonna start talking about, more into the aftermath, and what we're gonna say on that 911 call, what we're gonna say to the police on the scene during the investigation and all those things. We gotta understand that we've just gone through it, okay? We're gonna be experiencing these actual things. So, in the immediate aftermath, I always ask people this: is it legal to leave the scene of a crime? No. So, you can actually leave the scene of a crime. Now, are we gonna drive home an hour away? No. But what we wanna do is remove ourselves to safety, okay? I've just been in a violent encounter and I've had to press that trigger, and now I've got a body on the ground. I don't know if there's more threats, if he had buddies down the street from him, he's got family in the area. So I'm automatically gonna be like, okay, I need to start backing out of here, I need to get to a safer location. So absolutely retreat to a safer location, somewhere where you feel safe, into a building, down the street a little bit. Like I said, don't drive all the way home, right? Don't leave the state, something like that. But what we want to do is try to retreat to safety. You can absolutely do that, okay? You're going to want to call 911. Let's put ourselves in that situation. Attack. Hey, stay back. Don't come any closer to me. Boom. I have to press that trigger. I got a body on the ground, assuming room temperature.
Yeah.
Who's calling 911? Should we call 911? Okay. I'm gonna tell you, so I've got a couple of members in the room already, and they've got their USCCA membership cards with them. But every member of the USCCA gets their USCCA membership card, probably in the very back. Right here on the back, it's gonna tell you exactly what to say. We've actually revised this a little bit. We've got something we call our League of Justice. These are our USCCA network attorneys who review all the cases of our 870,000 plus members. We've got about 870,000, 5,000 members across the country. And the idea is, typically what we would tell people is, hey, make that 911 call. You want to make that 911 call because we want to let them know a few things. What are we going to say in that situation? What are we going to say on the 911 call?
Name, location, what happened. You need the response, whether it be a cardiac care ambulance.
What happened?
What happened? Police, any
In
witness.
my scenario, what happened?
I shot someone.
Shot somebody. What do we know about 911 calls?
They're recorded.
Have you used any court against us?
Yes, they can.
All right, so we gotta be really careful. I don't, typically what we would typically tell you to say, like, I'm on calls, hey, I was attacked, I was in fear for my life, I had to defend myself, I need police and EMS to this location, and then we're gonna hang up that phone call.
But you know, a lot of people don't know this. Just because you're the caller doesn't mean you're entitled to a CAD report about that 911
You
call.
gotta go fight for it.
You have to fight like hell to get that CAD
I had a
report.
guy in one of my last classes who had, the dog was loose in the neighborhood, been causing problems, attacked one of his nephews, he ended up with a shotgun, killing the dog. Neighbors came over, he had to point the gun at the neighbors. And this is, I wish he was in the class tonight to tell a story, he'd do it way better than I did, he lived it. But he called 911, was on the phone with 911 when the neighbors that owned the dog showed up. And he said, he goes, my recollection of what I told my attorney was is that I called 911, I told those guys to stay back, they need to go back in their houses, just leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And his attorney went and fought to get the 911 call. And on that call, he said, I'm gonna blow your asses away. That's all the stuff he said on that 911 call while he was dealing with these two guys. He didn't remember any of that. His recollection, he remembered saying, oh, just stay back, don't hurt me, go away, blah, blah. That's that short-term memory, that's what's gonna be happening to us, okay? So he didn't remember any of that, he heard that, and he goes, yeah, we're not trying to admit that into the court, right? So we gotta be really smart about it. We have changed that up. We had a phone call here recently, with our team. We're gonna be sending out new cards for our members. Our new recommendation, because of some of the cases that we've seen, the way that DAs are handling those 911 calls, is try to have somebody else make a phone call for you. Tell them, hey, just make sure they're sending EMS for the first response. That way we're not on audio recording, and something they can use against us, because again, he doesn't remember what he said on the 911 call. You might not remember, you might say something completely outrageous. I blew that MFer away, blah, 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 he was doing this. All this stuff's gonna come out, okay? So we need to be really careful, and that's why we kind of switched it up and said, hey, let's just say somebody else makes a phone call, what the law is. That makes sense? Okay. But we're definitely gonna wanna have somebody call 911 for us. We're also gonna want an attorney with us, okay? Like I said earlier, if I've got a body on the ground assuming room temperature, how many of you guys, if you were in that same situation, and the police showed up, you would expect them to come give you a big hug, see a halo over your head, and tell you you did an awesome job? It's not how they operate, guys. I know a lot of police officers, they're good people, but when they show up on that scene, they're there to investigate a what? Crime. It's a homicide, guys. In this state, we've got two types of homicide. There's justified homicide and criminal homicide. The question for you is, which one was it? Well, you're gonna have to go prove that what you did was justified, especially if there's a body on the ground. It's gonna get really serious, okay? So you wanna make sure to get an attorney down to you. How many of you guys have a good criminal defense attorney you can call 24/7, 365, show up for you, anywhere in the country? You got one? Or a friend of yours or somebody?
A family attorney.
Family attorney? Okay, and they practice criminal defense law?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So that's what we need, guys. We have to have somebody down there. Most of us don't have one sitting around waiting for us because we're not criminals, right? So we don't need one. We might need a tax attorney or a business attorney, something like that. With the USCCA, on that same card, when you call that number right there, doesn't matter if you're here in Texas or if you're in the communist state of California, sorry if any of you guys are from California, New York, wherever you might be from, these guys have access to over 1,200 attorneys. They're on call for you 24/7, 365. They're gonna show up on the scene, okay? That's what you want.
Do you have a bail bondsman on that card too?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Then you're gonna wanna start preparing the facts, okay? You don't wanna do that now. We want 48 to 72 hours after the event takes place. Law enforcement officers, after an officer-involved shooting, get that 48 to 72 hours before they have to sit down with their attorneys to sit down and go through what happened, okay? We deserve the same rights. But they're not gonna just give it to you because they're nice. They're gonna wanna try to get as much information from you on the scene as they can right now, okay? But again, we're gonna have memory loss, false memories, we're gonna be going through it right now, so not a good time to do it. So, if you have to make the 911 call, make it short. Hey, please give us this location and hang up the phone. I had a 911 operator in my class here a week ago. She's like, no, you can't hang up on me. Are you? Yeah, there's a red button right there on my phone. She don't get that button. She goes, well, it might delay a response. And I go, I don't care.
So it's not illegal to hang up on a 911 dispatcher.
Stay on that phone call. And do not do it. The longer you stay on there, the more opportunity you give yourself to say something. Script over.
Is that nationally or just
Yeah.
national?
They're not, you're under no legal obligation to give them any information that you don't want to give them, okay? You just want to let them know where you're at, the police on the scene, and EMS, get off that phone call as quickly as possible. She didn't like me, okay? But I told her, I said, hey, are you gonna make sure that I don't say anything that could possibly incriminate you? She goes, well, no. I'm like, great, and you're recording that call, right? Yep, and you're gonna hand that over? Yep. Okay, great, that's all I need to know. Okay, so we wanted to make that call, if we have to, make it quick, get off the phone call.
May I ask another question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's say that you shoot someone. They're in your yard. They've attacked you before. Does the Good Samaritan law also come into phase in any state? That you do have to provide that 911 call for this so that your victim can receive care?
I don't know that it's a law that you have to, but it's gonna look a lot better that you made the phone call or you had somebody make that phone call quickly to get that care there, because our goal wasn't for them to die. We wanna make sure that they can survive if possible.
For instance, in Kentucky,
Yep.
okay, it is a requirement that if you know of any emergency situation or you've killed, brought someone down with a gun or you see someone along Interstate 65, it is a requirement that you
Make that phone
make that Good Samaritan call.
Yeah, not a requirement here in Texas that I know of. I'm an LTC instructor, that's not really part of the curriculum, but I don't think it's a requirement here, but it's a good idea, right?
I know medical staff members, they are required.
Yeah, and you're under no legal obligation in the state to render aid. I don't know how that is in Kentucky, but here you're not required to render aid. If you don't want to. Okay. If you want to, awesome. We do have some Good Samaritan laws that cover you if you render aid and they try to sue you or something like that. You could be criminally charged or civil charged for the okay. So 911 call, even if shots are not fired, we need to be making that phone call, okay? I'll give you a great example. It happened right up here in Copper's Cove. This was one of my instructor's acquaintances. He knew the guy. This guy was not a USCCA member. He didn't have a plan for the aftermath. And he was coming back from Houston one night, and he decided to stop over here off of Knight's Way at 2 o'clock in the morning. Going to fill up his brand new F-150, limited edition pickup truck, because he had to go to Dallas the next day, and he wanted to save 10 minutes tomorrow morning. So he ends up there, he's sitting there, he's filling up his truck, and all of a sudden the spidey senses kicked up on the back of his neck. He turned around, he sees two guys coming at him with knives. He draws out to right here, never points it out at anything. He says, "Hey, stay back." They realize, hey, you know what, did a really bad job of victim selection here. This guy, we brought knives to a gunfight, they bailed. He makes a really bad mistake here. He reholsters, continues to fill his truck up with gas. What should he have done?
Call 911.
Call 911, right? Okay, there's a crime's been committed, okay? He doesn't make the phone call. The girl inside sees movement, looks at the screen, sees a guy with a gun and people running. So she calls Parker Heights Finest and says, "Hey, somebody has a gun out here in the parking lot." What normally is a 7-8 minute response time in Parker Heights is about 45 seconds. They show up, point guns at him, put your ass on the ground, blah, blah, blah. They get him on the ground, handcuff him, searching. They find the gun that she used to strike, go in the cruiser, take him to jail. Okay, he ended up spending 2 nights in jail. He had his one phone call. He called his wife. They didn't have a criminal defense attorney on speed dial, so she had to go find one the next day. He wanted a $2,000 retainer to come handle the case for him. He shows up the following day, so he spent 2 nights in jail, all because he didn't make that phone call. Cost him $8,000 in that job the next day. Okay? So we need to be thinking about this. Even if there's not shots fired, you ran off the bad guy, you need to be able to make that phone call. "Hey, 2 guys attacked me, this is what they were wearing, they ran off that way, blah, blah, blah. This is my number, if you have any questions, I can put you in contact with my attorney." Done with it, okay? First person that calls the winner. Okay, the first person that calls in is typically the one they're going to deem as the victim in the situation. They'll prove another one.
I've had a similar situation.
Oh, really?
From a very small town in Georgia.
Oh, really?
Was coming home late at night, stopped to get gas because I had another 15 minutes to go and I was just on gas. And I went inside and spent the last $2 cash I had getting a soda. I come back out and there's a guy standing propped on my car.
Oh, my gosh.
On my driver's side door. And I'm like, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to move. I'm just gonna and he's like, "No, I'm gonna need you to give me some money. I need somewhere to stay tonight." And I said, "Sir, again, I just spent my last $2 on the soda." I was like, I wanna go home. I'm gonna need you to move."
Yeah.
And he did. And when, thank God, like I said, I'm from a small town with a high school with half the cops. But I pulled my gun and I said, and he's like, "Oh, no, I'm leaving." I'm like, "No, you're not." Standing right there.
Yeah.
And I called 911, had 2 cops pull up. I was like, "This gentleman was trying," I was like, "Don't move." And they arrested him, carried him to jail, whatever, but then they were like, "Go home."
Yeah, get on home. Yeah, absolutely. You did the right thing. You called that 911. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. I love that, man. That's cool. All right.
Awesome. You're not going anywhere.
That's why we carry, guys, because there's great people in the world out there, okay? But you're definitely gonna wanna make the 911 call, get the police there, let them, explain the situation, get your attorney involved. Load it to your small town, you know the police officer, which is really nice. Shots are fired, we're gonna go through a very similar one. Yeah, call 911 or have somebody call 911 for you. Get a hold of that attorney, get them down there. And then reach out to family if need be. Let them know, hey, I'm gonna be delayed because, hey, something's going on, I'm safe. One of the cool things about the USCCA as well is you can put in your emergency contacts in there. And when you call that critical response team, they're gonna, number one, they're trained in crisis management. They're gonna help you kind of get through this. They've got access to those 1,200 plus attorneys. They're gonna get that attorney on the way, and if you've got emergency contacts in there, they're gonna reach out to those folks for you, so you might not have time to make those phone calls, okay? We're gonna notify family. One of the reasons we wanna notify family, shots were fired, I've got a body on the ground, we never know what's gonna happen next. The police could show up to your home, want to search the home, ask your family questions, so the things that you told your family on the phone, could come into question. Heck, the media could show up, right, depending on the situation and scenario. So we need to make sure that they understand that, hey, don't answer the door, don't talk to the police, don't make any comments, any of that kind of stuff, okay? So it's hugely important. Everything that we're doing in this aftermath is setting up for our defense, okay? Here's kind of the four-part statement, guys. This is a lot of words, in my opinion, but we'll kind of go through it, right? So we recommend you stick with a four-part statement to the police and do not go beyond it. Hey, I was attacked by that person or by these people and who ran in that direction, right? There is evidence. So say they had a knife and you, bang, you had to press the trigger, you hit them in the arm, they flop, the knife goes behind a trash can, something like that. You don't want to point that stuff out. They're professional police officers, but they miss things, right? So you're gonna want to, hey, that's important evidence over there. Pointing that kind of stuff out. Point out any witnesses that you might have in the area, and then let them know, hey, I've spoken and left a message, or left a message to my attorney, and I'm going to wait until he or she arrives to give a statement and sign the complaint. That's a lot, especially under the conditions we talked about. Okay. Personal recommendation, people that I talk to, police officers that I talk to. If you've used your firearm, boom, you have to press that trigger, now you're waiting, 911 call's been called, you see the red and blues, you got an option here. Put it on the ground and reholster it, get them out of your hands, okay? Remember that auditory exclusion we talked about? If I'm sitting here and I'm like holding it down, because maybe they're not done yet, and I wanna make sure that if they try to attack again, I'm prepared, and all of a sudden I don't recognize the red and blues are there, and somebody, remember that auditory exclusion, hey, put that gun on the ground! What? What's gonna happen to you? Probably gonna get shot. Okay, so we need to be really aware of that, get it out of our hands. We're gonna wanna show those folks palms right here, and then we're gonna follow their commands. Hey, get your ass on the ground. But I'm the good guy, I'm the one that called. No. Yep. Yes, yes ma'am, yes sir, whatever, get on the ground. Put your hands behind your back, get handcuffed. Great, set you on the curb, put you in the car. Cameras in the car, there's camera on their bodies, okay? Hey, what happened here? What took place? This is immediately where you're just gonna shut it down. You're gonna be like, you wanna be real simple? I need to speak to my attorney. You got it together, you do something like, hey, I'm gonna cooperate 100%, but my attorney's on the way, I'm gonna go to the next side, and I'll have to remain silent. You can remember that, okay? Information is on the back of the card as well, there to help you guys get through that, okay? But read it to them, but just show it to them, be like, okay? Again, everything we're doing is to protect ourselves legally. This sucks, because we're the good guys. We didn't want to be put in this situation, somebody put us in this situation. Now, we're in a legal system where we gotta go prove things. And we don't want to give them anything that could hurt us, okay? That makes sense? Plan on being arrested, plan on being handcuffed, okay? Just plan on it. Hopefully you're not. If they do, great. Sit there. At some point, you might want to start asking questions. Hey, am I being detained? Am I under arrest? Okay? But if you got an attorney on the way, just sit there and be quiet. Okay? Wait for your attorney to get there. They'll figure it all out. We'll get you unhooked and back over there. Comply with their instructions, keep your hands visible, please don't argue with them, okay? When they show up on the scene, the same adrenaline rush that you got, they're showing up with that same adrenaline rush. They know, hey, shots been fired. They're showing up and they're like cards racing. They're like, oh crap, I'd like to be home with my family tonight. Okay, so they're gonna be amped up a little bit. This is always a good idea here. Request to see paramedics. My heart's going pretty good. I don't know, I might have a heart attack. I don't know, right? Because what we want to do is create more time. Okay, and if I go over there and they put me with the paramedics, they can't question me, they can't do any of that. Paramedics aren't law enforcement officers. They're not gonna be asking me questions about anything that happened anyway. They're just gonna be checking me out. So it just gives you a little bit more time to wait for your attorney to get down. Make sense? Questions on any of that? Okay. Plan on your gun being confiscated. You carry the brand newest, greatest gun with all the bells and whistles on it. That's the $3,000 Staccato, right? It's gonna go into a bag. You're gonna put it in a locker somewhere, and you might not ever see that again. Plan on. Okay? They're gonna take whatever tool you use to defend yourself. Sometimes if it happens at your home, I've seen situations we've had members where they've taken all the guns. They force them to open the safe. Sometimes they've had people come in and break into the safes and take all their guns. Okay, so just plan on it, deal with it, get with your attorney, they'll go fight to get all that stuff back for you. Don't disturb any evidence. I've got some people that tell me, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna drop the magazine back one out of the slide, put it on the ground. I'm like, I don't think so, okay? Anytime you start messing with evidence, and this is now evidence, anytime you start messing with that, that's a potential additional charge. Okay, tampering with evidence, okay? I'm just putting it on the ground or reholstering. What do you think is the best option? On the ground or reholstering? On the ground. I like that as well, just depending on the surroundings and scenario, you know, how many people are kind of moving around. I don't think anybody's gonna steal it. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. But once I'm safe and the police are there, yeah, maybe get it on the ground. A lot of people reholster, which is fine as well if you want to do that. Problem is now they're gonna have to remove it from you. And there was a case down in Florida where the guy got pulled over, and he was a licensed carry holder, still carry holder. And she got him out of the car when she found out he had a firearm on him. She said that she was going to remove the firearm from his possession for her safety and his safety. And when she pulled out the firearm, she hit the trigger, shot him in the leg. So he's not working anymore. And she probably doesn't have a job anymore. But so that's kind of like pros and cons, right? Put it on the ground, it's out there for anybody to touch. If you reholster it, they're going to have to remove it from you. So no really good options. Point anything out that they might have missed. They're going to call it an interview, guys, but this is an interrogation. Okay? They handcuff you, take you downtown. Eventually, they're going to put you in a little room. It's going to have 2 or 3 chairs in it, a little table. They're going to sit there and start asking you questions. Again, attorney. We're not talking without our attorney. Problem is, we're good guys. We're justified for our actions. What do I want to do? I'm going to let you know that I was the good guy. And I wanted this right? I just want to puke all that information out to you. Problem is, all that's being recorded, and if I say something out of line, okay, because my attorney's going to try to delay this event, this interrogation or this interview. The idea here is to give me that 48, 72 hours for my body to kind of reacclimate, my brain to reacclimate, start remembering things, okay? And then I want to write out a statement, and I want to hand that to, my attorney's going to hand that to the investigators, and that's the information they have. If I answer a bunch of questions on the scene, if I stay on 911 for 10 minutes, saying all this mess, and then I write out my statement 72 hours later, and it's different, what do the police think? You're lying, right? They're gonna put you on the stand. They're gonna be like, sir, were you lying the first day or the third day? Because this statement doesn't match with that statement. And that's how they're gonna frame it. Okay, so we gotta be really smart about doing that. So invoke your right to remain silent. Do not consent to search of my person or property. This one's really important. I've been watching some legal videos on this recently. How many of you guys got like an iPhone or a smartphone, something like that? Everybody, right? Okay. How many of you guys use facial recognition to unlock your phone? Did you know that they can legally force you to open your phone with biometrics. But if you put a code, I still have I'm old fashioned, right? You still have to put your code in, they have no legal right, to ask you to give me your code. Just information out there, guys, okay? Don't unlock the phone for them. No, don't do it, okay? If your car's in the area and they're like, hey, can I search your car? Nope, I do not consent to any search, these are my personal, my property, okay? Just a car, it wasn't involved, why wouldn't I let them in my car? Well, I can tell you, I go to the range a lot, and all of a sudden, the prosecutor, as he's looking at the inventory of what they found in my car, they're gonna be like, well, this man, he had multiple guns and enough ammo to kill 100 people. I had 100 rounds of ammo in my car. Is that a lot of rounds? Now, if you're going to the range on a regular basis, I ain't any rounds at all. I'm gonna run through 100 rounds in a hurry, okay? But that's how the information gets framed. What if you had you got a prescription? And one of your prescriptions, you fell under the seat one day, you're driving to work, man, where's that thing go? You know, you can never find anything down there again. And they find that pill, and they go, oh, he had illegal prescription drugs in his vehicle. Okay? All these things that play against you. It's just how prosecutors work. They want to win. They want to win cases. They're going to use any information they have. So we want to limit the information we give them. Attorney's going to try to delay that police interview for as long as possible, minimum 48 hours. They're going to hire typically investigators. They usually have them on staff. These investigators are going to go out and re-interview witnesses. They're going to go find additional witnesses, footage, anything that they can find. They're going to look at evidence. They're typically former law enforcement officers, investigators, things like that. So they're going to hire these folks to go out there and help build their side of the case. Okay, get as much information as they can to find out what they can. We're going to analyze the evidence. They're going to conduct their own interview witnesses, and they may need to pursue professional expert testimony. What type of expert testimony could we have?
Psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist might be a good one, yeah, absolutely. What about like a ballistics expert?
Yes.
Blood splatter expert? Self-defense experts, okay? They're gonna hire these folks. These folks can be expensive. They can cost anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. They're gonna have to get on the stand and testify in a criminal case, something like that.
I think a lot of people don't realize that the digital data within a community, like webcams on the doors, whatever, can also be utilized by your attorney and law enforcement.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have cameras in my house.
But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of digital data out there now.
Yeah, everywhere. You see it all the time with people with ring cameras. I just assume if I'm out in public, I'm on camera.
Your camera's got a good angle of that, and I see.
Yeah. And the problem is camera footage might help you. It might hurt you because it's only seeing it from one perspective, right? So these are things we need to think about. You talked about bail bonds, right?
Yes.
So if you are arrested, they handcuff you, and then all of a sudden the DA looks at all the information that the investigators provide, at this point, if they decide to put a charge on you, felony assault, attempted murder, manslaughter, something like that, and they put that charge on you, now you're gonna go somewhere. Where are you gonna go? Jail, right? Not even the regular jail, guys. They're gonna drop you off in county jail, okay? If you're in this area, you'll probably get dropped off on 121 over there. There's only one way to go home, and that's if the judge puts a bond on you. In Texas, we gotta pay 10% of whatever our bond is set at. So if you get a $200,000 bond put on you, what are you gonna need to write a check for?
20.
20 grand. You're gonna need to come up with 20 grand to be able to cover those expenses. That's gonna get you home to your life, your family, your job. Just to kind of give you an example of this locally. Had a guy in this classroom 3.5 months ago, almost 4 months ago. He sat through this class. He came up to me after and he was like, hey, I was in a situation 9 months ago. So now we're sitting a year now. He was attacked inside of his own home. He had to defend himself inside of his home. He ended up taking that person's life. They arrested him, charged him with murder. They put a $150,000 bond on him. It took him over a month to come up with the funds to be able to get himself back home. Lost his job, lost everything. Okay. I'll talk to you guys about some of the additional benefits that'll help you guys out with this as a USCCA member as well. But you're gonna need to either find a bail bondsman, you're either gonna have the cash, because we are a cash bond state, or you're gonna have to put something up for collateral, your home, your car, or something like that, to be able to cover, doing that. Charging decisions may be delayed, so they can hold you, for, I think here in Texas, it's, 72 hours. 72 hours, they can hold you before they even charge you. Okay, and when they charge you, now they can hold you for as long as they need to, until they put that bond on you, you can come up with money. So you may be sitting in jail for a few days, while this process plays out. Okay, so just be aware of that. Questions you guys have? Questions? How's that good?
Is that the church shooting up in Dallas?
What's that?
Is that the church shooting up in?
Have you seen this one before?
I'm aware of it.
So, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the importance of being prepared. I love it. You were like super prepared. That was fantastic. You acted in a really, really great way. You committed yourself. You didn't have to press the trigger, even though a lot of people say, well, before you're going, you got to press the trigger. Pull it out, use it as a deterrence. But you're willing to do it if you have to, if it came down to it. But you were able to control that and do that. So that comes down to training, both mentally and physically. You need to be mentally prepared. If you're put into a violent encounter situation where you're going to have to defend yourself, you need to be able to actually react. We talk about fight, flight, or freeze, right? Freeze is going to be the worst of all options, right? We can escape, let's escape. If we can't escape, we got to fight, let's fight, okay? Freeze is not a good one. That worst of all options.
Probably don't tell you.
What's that?
Probably didn't say it.
Yeah. And so we got to go through mental repetition. When this happens, I'm going to do A, B, and C. Okay. This is going to give you a great example of all three of those. Okay. There's going to be the mental side of it, the physical side of it. Okay. Again, no blood, no guts, but this is an actual event that took place up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I can make it work. Everything's going to take place right up here. I want you to pay attention to this guy right here, that guy, this man right here. Was that?
He's level 4.
Yeah. He's really, really good. Jack Wilson. Really good. The reason I use this as a great training tool, guys, it's unfortunate that it happened. Not to disparage anybody that lost their lives in this event, but it's a great training opportunity for us. The first guy that you saw got shot, right? So he approaches the man on the wall, pulls out a shotgun. How close is he? He's pretty dang close, right? What is his reaction? Freeze. Okay. Right up the wall, you see a guy stand up. We'll run it again so you can see it. And you see him do this. He's got a jacket on, he's got his shirt untucked, and he starts to do this. He's never able to get to his firearm. Okay, he's the first one shot and killed. Turns back to his original, boom, shoots him. He never moved. Okay? Frozen. Okay. Jack Wilson from 47 feet, guys, 47 feet. That's over 15 yards. Single shot. He was mentally prepared. He was physically prepared. Okay, it's hugely important that we are better prepared. The first guy that got shot was mentally able to react, but he was unable to physically perform. He never could get to the gun. Second guy that got shot completely froze. His hand stayed right here almost the whole time. Okay, as soon as that shotgun went off of him, even if he didn't have a gun or something, he could have just bum rushed him, tackled him, something. But he was just mental vapor life. Okay, Jack Wilson from 47 feet had that ability mentally and physically. Not only could he draw the firearm and get it out, he made an amazing shot. He shot him right under the eye. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when we're talking about being more mentally and physically prepared. Okay, we talked about the legal aftermath of being legally prepared as well. So I want to talk to you guys about USCCA and how we can help you guys get better prepared. Okay, mentally, again, it's about going through these scenario-based training situations. If you download that app on there, as a member, you're going to have access to a ton of e-learning, e-trainings, e-videos. You can go to your website as well. Tons of situational awareness training, avoidance, de-escalation skills, things that we can do to help us avoid these encounters in the first place. But also scenario-based training. What are you going to do at 2 o'clock in the morning when somebody kicks in your door? What's your plan? I get it, we're in Texas, everybody's like, bang, 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 right? Is that the best option for us?
No.
Not, depends on the situation, right? 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm already in my bedroom, right? I've got a wife and 3 kids. We sit down once a quarter. We use the home defense planning through USCCA to build our plan. My kids are on the other end of the house. My 2 daughters know they're bailing down in their brother's room. They're gonna barricade that door up. We give them the tools to do that, the tools to defend themselves, okay? My room, my wife's immediately on the phone with 911. I'm grabbing my firearm, I'm barricading that door up. My oldest daughter's calling my cell phone. I'm gonna ensure that they're safe in that room where they're supposed to be. And we're gonna maintain those positions until the police arrive or we're forced to do something different, okay? We got a contingency plan. But we've thought about this, and once a quarter, we sit down and go through it. If I have to change my plan up because my 20-year-old's leaving me, okay? We're gonna have to kind of alter our plan a little bit, but that's our plan. How many different scenarios or situations could we come up with? Tons of them, right? Gas stations, right? Somebody approaching you, public shootings, things like that. How am I going to react in if there's a mass shooter on the loose somewhere? What's my plan? Hey, right down here in Austin, I don't know if y'all saw this. 2 kids, one's 15 or 16, the other one was like 18. They drove around town just randomly shooting into people's homes, cars, and businesses. They injured 3 or 4 different people before they were apprehended. Okay, we've got to have a plan for these situations. Through that membership, you're going to have access to tons of training and education to help you start planning for these events so we can be mentally prepared and physically react. Okay, on the physical side, we want you guys to build skills necessary. Can you draw? Can you get effective shots on target? Okay. One of the ways that we do this is you need to get on the range. Through that membership, the first level of Protector Academy that we have is going to be about marksmanship, safety, how do we talk to young people about firearms. Okay, it's going to be a video series you go through. In the series, you're going to call up Dave or one of the people up here, let them know, hey, you know what, I finished that first level of Protector Academy, I want to come in and qualify with my firearm, but we're going to take you on the range, they're going to take you through that qualification level, you're going to put you through the CCO. Okay. Those two is where the rubber needs to go for us guys.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Basically, this short live is to give you information for your own protection. When you have been involved in any type of crime, you want to make sure that you dial 911 or have someone near you dial 911. You can shut it off legally. Once you have dialed 911, you're not legally responsible to stay with the dispatcher until police arrive. Legally, it's not required. Number 2, do not volunteer any information concerning any type of incident that you may be involved in. Keep your mouth shut and make sure that you have access to an attorney. for any type of incident or crime. And the Good Samaritan law, it varies from state to state. You have to check with your AG, Attorney General, in each state. And if you're part of the CFAST or the ARC, the American Red Cross Foundation for Critical Disaster Team, you will fall under the federal regulation to perform the Good Samaritan Act in every state. And the reason why you have this type of requirement when it comes to the American Red Cross nationally in our country and internationally for medical personnel and those who are volunteering to get a description of natural disasters is because most people who are volunteers or employed with the ARC or a CFAS team that is mobile throughout the United States or internationally, you are required because you are not medical personnel. When you get into these type of disaster teams and you work with the American Red Cross, you naturally sign a written documentation that you will perform the Good Samaritan law or the Good Samaritan Act wherever you may be deployed to. So, for your own safety and protocols, just like the instructor said, in Texas, if you save someone's life, and let's say they overdose, and you call 911 because you know that person overdosed, that person can honestly turn around and sue your ass for dialing 911 to save their life. It has happened before, not just in Texas. This has happened up along the East Coast. It happens all the time. People try to take their own lives, and they get pissed off because they want to die. And then they turn around and they sue the person who made the call or performed any type of first aid care. And if you don't know your laws and you help to save someone or you save someone, be prepared. And the way to be prepared is to know your state laws when it comes to the Good Samaritan Act. Also, if you are in the medical field and you transfer or get new licensing anywhere, be informed of the differential guidelines and laws in every state. When you are in the military, it is not necessarily true that you are covered on the civilian side if you are RN or a practitioner or a doctor or a paramedic if you help perform safety care or first aid or whatever on the civilian side of the base. You may not be covered. So, the important thing to remember is to cover your own ass, know the laws within your own state, and attend classes so that you can become informed of new regulation that comes down federally, state, or locally. That is what this class is about. How do you survive dialing that 911 call knowing that the blue and red are coming to any scene of a crime or crime of a scene? Their job is to find the truth. Their job is to investigate. They will have the same adrenaline that you have, but their job is to respond to that crime. Their job is not to cover your ass. There are a lot of people in this world who are innocent of crimes. That's here or there. If you have a beef with any type of law enforcement, they will keep that CAD report, the footage, the police cam, the police webcam, they will keep that footage from you. They will do an investigation on you, and you will fight like hell for your own protection. So, make sure you are aware of your own rights in any situation. Because if you're not aware, and you don't take classes within your own state for federal and state laws, no matter where you go, and you have limited knowledge because you choose not to get informed, that's on you. That's not on the next person. That is on you. It is very important that you make that phone call and find out the laws in your county, within your state. That you look at those websites and that you gain federal knowledge about your rights when a PD office is investigating you. They don't even have to tell you they're doing that. There are ways to find out. But you have to hire a counselor, or many refer to them as attorneys or lawyers. And it's very hard to sit quiet and listen to individuals state what happened in your particular situation, no matter what the event or situation is, when they weren't there. And believe me, it is better to be silent and to do your research and to gain your knowledge than it is to just pop off. Well, I hope you all gained something from this little informative session that we had. Hello everyone, I saw you, but I was not going to speak over top of the instructor. I hope you all have a good evening. I thank you for coming in. But please consider gaining more knowledge, because federal and state laws are changing all the time. And that shooting in Dallas, it was a really bad thing. And it is a shame that individuals go to mass, or they attend church, or they go to synagogue, and they are shot when they are doing what they want to do with their religious beliefs. But it's the same thing in Texas or anywhere else. Even in high schools, we are aware that children are bringing guns and knives, and some individuals who may not be normal are going into our schools, not just public, but parochial schools also, and they are shooting people. Many individuals know that Fort Hood, Texas, has a high incident rates of individuals being murdered. A few years back, a psychiatrist went into the ID section of the military, and he shot up people. There was no warning or nothing. He just shot them. We have a lot of those incidents here at Fort Hood. So, understand your rights. Talk to your law enforcement. I mean, I'm not saying don't talk to law enforcement. I'm not telling you that. What I'm asking you to do is know the scenario before it happens to you. It's okay to make a call and say, hey, I'd like to have some information before it happens. Do they have to answer you? No, they don't. But most of them will. I mean, most police, state troopers, sheriffs, marshals, they're all kind. They have families. They're human just like the rest of us. But there are a few. So, please remember, protect your rights or those of your family members when it comes to an incident involving a crime. gain your background knowledge. And like he said, anything can be used as a weapon. Threats are real. Perhaps you know people who keep on saying, they threaten to keep on doing things, all right? Perhaps you know someone like that. And let's say for 6 or 7 years, they never did anything to anyone. And then all of a sudden, they decide, hey, I'm going to carry that through. That person overstepped their boundaries and they pissed me off. Know that that can happen at any time. We as human beings do not know what will trigger someone off. People can go off the deep end at any time. And if you do not know the resources within your own community to help you and to facilitate the need to be successful in protecting yourself and your family members, then you have failed yourselves already. Have a good evening. Be safe.